pretty quickly. The scary thing is that Mono Black can do things to adjust to that, like Freakish Cure and Drown in Sorrow, but we don't need to talk about that deck any longer today. It's not in here. We're going to watch some burn action as both players are going to play some temples to begin. A little scry action as we do begin our semifinals. Tyler Winn with a wild guess.
And this is a really good opening for Tyler here, getting rid of a probably close to dead Chain of the Rocks, digging a little bit deeper.
An interesting spell to see in this deck, but it looks like it's going to be a useful one as Butler's going to play a Sacred Foundry untapped, going to deal the first damage to himself. As there you do see the wild guess. No guts, no glory is certainly accurate as Winn is going to play a Temple of Triumph, leave that on top, and simply pass the turn back.
Jesse's hand's got to be really good to warrant playing an untapped Sacred Foundry here on an empty board. You see Portal's Charm, which is a great start, but those 2 free points of damage that Tyler just picked up is a really big deal.
He's got a Chain to the Rocks in his hand for his draw. It looks like he's got 2 of those. As now Tyler's going to send a Boros Charm over Butler's way. It's never good to draw those Chain to the Rocks in this matchup.
Occasionally comes up against Chandra's Phoenix, but because these decks play Searing Blood as well, it's just pretty unlikely that a creature matters very much. You see Jesse right now with 2 copies of Chain of the Rocks in his hand, a little glutted on removal spells here.
Winn sends a Warleader's Helix over to Butler. Skullcrack stops the first one, but it will not stop the second one. Winn's going to go up to 17. Butler is going to go down to 6. He'll send a Shock the other way. So you can see the life totals are changing pretty quickly here as both players just sending burn at each other. But it looks like things are probably favored for Winn right now.
The most critical cards in the matchup are Warleader's Helix and then Skullcrack to stop it. And once you get a Warleader's Helix to resolve, especially when Tyler was just ahead like this, that's going to be game.
Winn will show Butler a Skullcrack and a Lightning Strike, and that's going to do it. There's a reason we started here.
Oh, yeah. This is going to be fast. The match can play a little bit slow if it gets to a spot where both players have a lot of mana and they're jockeying over Warleader's Helix and Skullcrack. But in games like that, it's going to be over really fast.
Yeah, and it certainly was. As you see Tyler Winn, our #1 seed, undefeated throughout this tournament, still has not lost. Up a game against Jessie Butler. It's trivia time. Pretty simple. Get your Twitters ready. Hashtag SCG Premium. Make sure you're following at SCG Live. This guy's going to ask you a question. Again, your answer with those hashtags. Make sure you're following at SCG Live. Always remember that any trivia and things that are given away here on Star City Games Live, it's on us. Has nothing to do with Twitch.
Yeah.
So that part is important. And again, we'll announce the winner at the conclusion of our semifinal round here for our 6-month question. Make it a doozy.
So Tyler Winn, we've seen him on camera, of course, now in the top 4. He was also on camera in Cincinnati, playing his take on Red White Burn. The defining thing in my mind about this list is the creature base. The main deck plays 4 copies of Chandra's Phoenix, no big question marks there, and 4 copies of a new creature from Journey to Nyx. Name that creature.
And if you can, hashtag SCG Premium for your answer. Make sure you're following at SCG Live. And again, we will select one winner from the group of winners who do get it correct, and we'll announce the winner at the conclusion of our semifinal round, which looks to be likely a quick one.
Most likely.
Yeah, we've got Burn already headed to game number 2. They're looking at sideboards. We're going to do the exact same here. I know that yesterday when we watched a Burn Mirror, we didn't really like what we saw. We'll see if we like anything here. You've got Butler's side, 4 Fire Drinker Satyrs, a Burning Earth, an additional Chain of the Rocks, an additional Satyr Fire Dancer, a Wear Tear, 2 Anger of the Gods, 4 copies of Toil Trouble, and a Mysian Mortars. What do you like there?
Basically, none of this. I think the 4 copies of Toil and Trouble are going to come in because there's enough inefficient cards in Jesse's list, the 3 copies of Satyr Fire Dancer, the 2 copies of Chain of the Rocks, that Jesse's likely going to want to bring in the Toil and Trouble, even though it isn't optimal in this matchup, just because he's got some cards that are even worse.
Seems like it's better than nothing as we take a look at Tyler Winn's sideboard. 4 Fire Drinker Satyr, 2 Chain of the Rocks, a Dictator of the Twin Gods. That was a fun one yesterday. 4 Satyr Fire Dancer, 2 Wear and Tear, and 2 copies of Active Treason. You like it anything on that side?
Nope. Just, no.
Just straightforward analysis. No, sir.
The problem is that these decks really aren't interested in playing permanent, so a lot of cards like Wear Tear don't do very much. They don't have much in the way of creatures, and even if they did, the presence of Searing Blood in each other's deck makes them want to de-emphasize it. So that means that extra removal spells or things like Satyr Fire Dancer really aren't appropriate. Fire Drinker Satyr, of course, has nothing to do with the game, so these players have to basically shuffle up their same 60 or close to it.
We see Mutavaults coming in here for Butler, so no red mana just yet, able to get 2 damage across with the lands. Quick update on another match. Jamie Arnold did win game number 1 over Elliot Cannon, so like we said, we're not screwing around here this morning. I guess everyone's got a breakfast date, brunch or something.
Mother's Day.
Yeah, not messing around. Want to go get breakfast with mom. as they are all playing aggressive decks here. Here's a Boros Charm going upstairs. Butler's going to go down to 16. You saw him not firing with Mutavault. Got to respect a card like Searing Blood.
Absolutely. Even Magma Jet would be a disaster this early on, so better to hold tight.
A Mountain for Winn's going to allow him to play a Chandra's Phoenix. Coming across for 2 in the air. Butler's going to go down to 14. You see the life totals here of 14 to 18. This is a Toil Trouble. And that's going to be likely a bunch of damage headed upstairs to Tyler Winn. He's going to go down to 13. This is a Scryland and another copy of Toil Trouble left on top of the deck.
Just going to try to burn Tyler out, which makes a lot of sense here.
Ooh, Winn's going to take 2. This is probably a War Leader's Helix, I have to imagine, and it is. He's going to go up to 15. Butler's going to go down to 10, plus the attack is going to put him down to 8.
This is one of those rare games where Chandra's Phoenix is going to be really powerful, in part because Jessie doesn't have a ton of red mana to work with. Even if he does have Searing Blood, it is his entire turn.
Yep. Helix is going to exchange the life totals again here. Butler's going to go up to 12. Winn's going to go down to 11. He'll take a draw here. Picked up a copy of Eidolon of the Great Revel. You see the War Leader's Helix being brought forward to his hand. He says, let's send that back. So I'll gain 4, you lose 4, plus 2 more. Looks like Butler's going to go down to 5 here as these life totals are changing very quickly.
And Jessie's, of course, at this stage in a ton of trouble. Needs War Leader's Helix probably to survive next turn. And even then, it's not really that long-term of a plan, as that Chandra's Phoenix is just going to keep hitting.
Head in his hands. He knows he's in trouble. You know, the funny thing here is Mutavault's a really good card, but it also restricts what you can do.
Yeah, these decks are so red mana sensitive that spending your first 2 turns playing Mutavaults means that you're probably behind in the progression. You see Jessie's just going to die with a lot of spells in his hand as a result.
Mana Confluence to land here for Tyler. That's land number 5. He's tapping 2 mana. He's going to play Eidolon and Great Revel. That's going to force Butler's hand right now. And that's kind of what you got to like about this card. It kind of has this strange effect on the game where now he's got to respond. He's also got to kill it, too.
Yeah, unlike Assail It, which is traditionally in this slot, you have to play spells preemptively in the face of it, and it's always going to be 2 damage when your opponent uses a removal spell on it.
Very, very important card. Now he's got to respond, make a move that he doesn't want to make, but he's really left with no option as he is in a rock and a hard place right now.
Yeah. And Jessie might just get locked by this Eidolon.
Wouldn't surprise me.
And then Tyler can win at his leisure.
The thing is, you know, Tyler doesn't even have to attack with it either. It can just sit there. As here's a Lightning Strike. Looks like it's going to go upstairs. There's a Skullcrack that's also going to go upstairs. So 6 damage heading Tyler Winn's way. He's going to go down to 9. Tyler Winn is going to show you a couple of burn spells and an extension of the hand. Tyler Winn, our #1 seed with Red, White, Burn. We saw him last weekend in Cincy. He's heading to the finals this week. Takes it down 2-0.
Just really good draws, and to me, the sort of the defining thing that happened was that wild guess in game 1. We don't really know the exact composition of his hand, but he was able to cycle a dead Chain of the Rocks. Jessie died with 2 of them in his hand, and that card likely made a big difference the way that match played out.
A nice innovation from the Louisville, Kentucky player, someone I've actually known for some time during